In 2010, I created my first social media account. I was 10 years old. I spent the next decade procrastinating, feeling not good enough, watching my likes, and wasting time I could have spent with the people I love, instead watching them through a lens. Now, at age 20, after 10 years of being on social media, I have decided to delete it all. Well, except YouTube. Here's my journey and why I'm deleting my socials. Okay, there's a couple reasons I'm making this video. Firstly, I wanted to. Secondly, I hope that my story and me expressing my feelings can maybe lead to more awareness to the endless dangers of social media. So, as I said in the intro, I got social media in 2010. I was 10 years old. I was that young that I had to beg my mum to let me have social media. That's the first trigger, that I was too young to be on the internet in that way. But nonetheless, after weeks of begging her, and because my brothers were allowed, I got given the go-ahead. She said okay. So I created my first email, because to have social media you need to have an email. And not a lot of 10-year-olds have emails, so I created a cringy one, created my Facebook account, and voila, that's how it happened. As a child, before social media, I would be outside from sunrise to sunset. I would be on my bike 24/7, I would play cards, I would run, I would use my trampoline. I was on my feet, I was active, I was sociable, and I don't know if anyone younger than me will know of these times. Before you had your phone, before you had social media, you would have to walk to that person's house to ask them if they were free to come and play. And if I walked 25 minutes and I tapped the door and the mum answered and said no, and I can't come out, she's got homework, I would be damn mad walking back. And so that's one benefit of social media. I could text them, and if they weren't in, they weren't in. If they weren't available, okay. That would mean that I would have no reason to go outside, so why not just stay in my bedroom the whole day? As a 10-year-old kid, you should not be in your bed on TikTok, on YouTube, on Facebook. You should be outside and playing, but social media created this atmosphere where it felt okay. It felt like you were socializing with someone. And so, from being the child that was active and hyper and going out to play and practicing piano, I became the child that would take selfies at 10 years old. That part's at least funny. I would post all the time how I was feeling. I would go too far because I was a child and I didn't know the limits of social media. And yes, I would do Facebook posts such as, like this post and I'll tell you if you're hot or not, or like this post and I'll tell you if I would date you, and stuff like that. Before I get into the negatives, here's some positives of social media. One, as I already mentioned, I didn't have to walk to my friend's house to be let down. Another big benefit of social media is someone who travels a lot. I was able to stay in contact with people that I met in a city, and I wanted to stay friends with them. And no one can deny that during the pandemic, social media did help people in some ways. However, as I'm going to explain, I think the negatives outweigh the positives even during the pandemic. When you're on social media 24/7, you learn a lot about the protests and the deaths in the world and all the bad things.
1 million deaths from the coronavirus. Richard Engel now on the scars the pandemic has left across the globe.
And as much as it is really great to be aware of what's going on in the world, and I'm not saying you shouldn't, when it's your whole feed, it can really bring you down. It can really take a toll in your mental health, and that's something that happened to me. We can't all save every part of the world, and of course it's nice to try, but sometimes you have to remember to save yourself. And if your mental health is taking a toll because every day you're finding out how many people died of COVID, you should allow yourself to take that break. Speaking of COVID, another thing that happened, especially over the pandemic, but in my whole 10 years on social media, is there's an infinity of fake news. You don't need to be someone with a degree in that subject to write your own facts, something that you found. People lie on social media, people are allowed to lie, and there's not much that can be done. When someone starts sharing the posts and it goes viral, it's already too late, like the dolphins in Venice at the start of the pandemic. Another thing, which was a problem as a millennial growing up on social media, is that I always sought approval and praise from others, even on myself, even on my looks. When I would post a Facebook photo or an Instagram post, if I didn't get the average amount or more likes than usual, I would feel so upset. Most of the time I would delete the posts, and I would stare at the photo and realise oh, it's because I had a spot here, or oh my gosh, my hair didn't look good, and I would start lowering my self-worth. We can't help it. Humans tend to seek approval and seek praise, and it is a natural thing for us, but when it's forced into you every single day, you notice it more. Now, another thing that I was lucky to experience on social media is bullying. Yes, I was bullied on social media. I was bullied on Twitter for a short amount of time, and it was so bad. My school had called the police, and if I wasn't on social media, okay, yeah, maybe they might have still said the things they did, but I wouldn't have known. I wouldn't have cared because, well, who cares what other people think of you? If you're happy with yourself and you're doing good, you can't let the perception of others change your own views of yourself. This here is an external. You can't tell people to like you, you can't force them, and you shouldn't. You should focus on how you view yourself, and you should work to make that to the highest standard. And that's what leads me to today, where I am deleting social media. I'm in the process, and in the next part of this video I'm going to explain to you how I am deleting social media so that I delete it in the long run. I don't deactivate my account for 2 months, so that I really delete my social media, and how I do it without feeling like I want to go back to it ever. So for the next part of the video, I'm going to move myself over to the computer. Okay, we're not really in my desk, but I do have my laptop now. So my method for deleting social media is simple. I'm going to take all of the reasons why I haven't deleted it yet and flip them around. Number 1. God, all of the data they have of me. I have 10 years of photos and videos and stories and messages that I don't want to go. I'm a bit of a photo hoarder, and I think that's the main reason why I haven't yet deleted social media. So let me quickly solve that. Now, I'm no expert in technology. However, I learned that there's a really easy way to do this rather than clicking download on everything ever. You can just go into the settings, scroll down, and you'll find download data. And just let me warn you, they give you everything. Your messages, your likes, photos, your videos, your stories, everything. So I would recommend going through what you want. Number 1, problem solved. Number 2, I want to talk to my friends. Now this one is solved easily. Give them your number. You know, we all pay for a SIM for a reason. Give them your phone number, or if you prefer, give them WhatsApp. If you don't mind having your data stolen like me. A little trick for number 2. So as you can see on my Instagram, I am following 15 people. And that means there are 15 people in my life, not including family. That means something to me, which might sound like not a lot for a lot of people. I'm quite a lonely person. But I basically deleted the 850 people I was following and came down to the essential people that I think mean something to me. You know, I've had a good friendship with. And once you do this, you just make sure you have all of those people's numbers. And there you go, you don't need to think, oh, maybe I forgot the number of someone. Okay, you've already deleted everyone that isn't vital in your life. And also it's giving you that second step to deleting it, because your feed is suddenly going to have absolutely nada on it. Fun story whilst we're here. So the day after I deleted like the 850 people, I lost 100 odd followers, maybe more than that, and it makes me wonder, 1, how did they know that I unfollowed them so quickly? And 2, you know, we clearly, these people and me clearly weren't friends. We were just following for following, and it just makes me want to delete social media even more. The truth is, you've always had the opportunity to talk to your friends out with social media. There's nothing that's actually linking you to that other than number 3, which is the fear of missing out. Trust me, I get it. I understand. If you've ever taken a social media break before, you quickly realize that nothing's happening online, but you don't know that. You know, it's the fear that there is something happening and you're missing out on some big news. And to that, I would just say you have to conquer that fear. You have to realize that you're not missing out much. You're maybe missing out on some cute dog photos of your friend taking your dog a walk, or some Snapchats and Instagrams of a night out, but in the grand scale of things, if they're your true friends, they're going to tell you everything that's important going on in their life anyway, so you do not need to worry about that. So in essence, the 3 reasons why people tend to not want to delete social media is fear of missing out, talking to their friends, and all of the data that these social medias hold against them. So let's move on to the part that I'm most excited for this video, actually deleting social media. Okay. Is it weird that I have goosebumps right now? I'm kind of nervous. I mean, here's the thing. I've grown up with social media. I've made that very clear. I had social media at such a young age. So it's been a part of my everyday life since that. And as much as I'm ready to get rid of it and I'm happy I'm making this step, it still feels like a big decision. We're going to start with the easiest one, which is Twitter. I actually deleted Twitter a while ago. I stopped using it in 2018 because it found out I got Twitter underage, and then it disabled my account, and I was like, okay, bye Twitter then, I guess. I mean, this is the first social media I deleted a long time ago, but I haven't once stopped and thought, oh, I wish I had Twitter right now. We're going on to the next one, which is, in contrast, the most recent social media I got, TikTok. I mean, if you've ever had TikTok, you know the addiction that comes with it. I got it the start of 2020 and I was traveling and I started taking naps where I would just go on TikTok for 2 hours when I was traveling, and this one upsets me because I wasted time. I could have been out exploring a city and I was too busy on TikTok, which millennial problems, am I right? Anyway, let's get down to it. Delete account. I hate that they say they'll deactivate it because then it's like, oh, you can go back within 30 days like nothing happened. Delete. Here you go. And it's done. When I was in a downward spiral of mental health, TikTok was there for me, but not in a good way. It was kind of the driver of that, so yeah, that one feels good. TikTok is gone. Okay, next up is Snapchat, which is on my phone. So the story with Snapchat, I had Snapchat from age 12. I haven't used Snapchat in 2 years, but it still feels heavy deleting it. I mean, this just shows the addiction, doesn't it? You know, when you're 12 to 16 and you're getting into boys and you can say, snap me, and you can look really cute. Yeah, okay, it's a good app. Okay, account deactivated. Okay, now we're moving on to the big ones, the ones that I'm actually sad about. Instagram. I took breaks from Instagram, but I never really went off the app for long periods of time because I love photos. I love taking photos. You know, as a teenager, my ego always needed lifting, so I've always loved this app, and I am sad to delete it because most people I've ever met, I've added them on Instagram, and the other week when, as you saw earlier in the video, I deleted the big amount of people, I felt kind of guilty because there's some people that I know that I'm not in contact with them, but I'm a bit sad about losing contact with them. Anyway, your account, go ahead. Yes. And that's it. It's gone. That one stung. I can't lie, that one, it stung. So here we are, we've arrived at the last social media, which is Facebook. And I say Facebook for last because I want to explain the reasons why I'm finding it hard to delete. I used to put all of my photos on private albums, and every photo of me ever I would put on a private album on Facebook as like a backup. You know, Facebook's such a good backup for data. Like if you have photos and you know it's free, I'm not too worried about employment in the future because the past 3 employments I've had, my employers have told me they've looked up people on Facebook to check that they're not weird and stuff like that. So I'm thinking, okay, they're gonna type up Lucy Allen on the internet and all they're gonna find is my YouTube channel. Let's go. The moment we've all been waiting for. Facebook. The first real social media, I think. So, change to delete. And continue to account deletion. Oh. Okay, wait a second. It actually says, sorry, this content isn't available right now. Are they trying to make it hard for me? Okay, well, I had to actually deactivate it rather than delete it, but it's the same thing, it's gone. There we go. Well, I'm proud of myself. It's been a bit of an emotional roller coaster, to say the least. If you told me at 13 that I would be deleting social media, I would think that I was like trying to go into Nepal for a year to meditate or something. I've created a Discord, which I know pairs really well with that into this video. But yes, I've created a Discord. We already have like 15 people on it. We talk every day, I send quotes every day, and it's been really nice. So I've got a link in the description to that. If you want to chat with me personally, help improve your life with some nice daily quotes, you can do that. And if not, okay, bye-bye.